If we are all set, then we can actually kickstart. Alrighty, my name is Eileen, and I will be the presenter for today. Partipost is one of the fastest growing influencer marketing platforms in Asia, which aims to help brands like you connect with people to create word of mouth advertising through social media. This Partipost webinar series is created bite-sized to enable all of you to leave with additional knowledge or even solutions without the short amount of time we spend together in this Go Branch Hall. In today's series, we will discuss the common marketing pain points post-pandemic and how working with content creators or influencers can increase your brand visibility on social media. We have joined with us today Mr. Sean from Trappers Media, an expert in this field, who will be able to share with you some insights on the best learnings when it comes to using social media and influencers to maximize your ROIs. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them in the chat window. We'll address them during the Q&A at the end of the session. Also, as a sign of gratitude to all of you who have made time to join us today, we'll be giving away not just one, but two mass campaigns where we will be able to work with 500 or more influencers to shout about your brand. So stay till the end of the webinar to learn how you can stand the chance to win. Without much further ado, let's kickstart the session with a Partipost reel.
Partipost brings more meaning to daily sharing. As someone who loves life and sharing happiness, whether you're working out, strolling around town, or hustling at work, everyone could use a little surprise in everyday life. Become a creator through the Partipost app. Choose a campaign and complete the task within the time limit. Just snap a picture of your story. Then submit your draft on the Partipost app for the brand's approval. Post it on your social media and earn rewards instantly. Snap, post, earn. Partipost makes every post more meaningful in your daily sharing. Join us to become a creator on social media.
The earlier video encompasses the essence of what we do here in Partipost. We are a crowd marketing platform that rewards influencers by sharing brands that they love and at the same time allowing brands to connect, collab, and create magical journeys with them. Next up, we have a short welcome message from our CEO, Mr. John A.
Good day, everyone. I'm Jonathan, the CEO and co-founder of Partipost, a crowd influencer marketing platform in Asia. It is my great privilege to welcome you to our first webinar in Malaysia. I can't wait to connect, collab, and create with all of you. To begin with, I co-founded Partipost with co-founders Tony and Ben 5+ years ago with the purpose of helping brands connect with their target audience with the use of word-of-mouth marketing or influencer marketing. Several years ago, micro and nano influencer marketing were not terms used in the market. I still remember getting rejected by the first 10 brands I approached. They didn't even know what the terms were. We had to put in our own money to give those initial brands to try out some test campaigns. I'm lucky to say after 5+ years, we're still around and the team is growing. We now have over 700,000 party posters or influencers from all over Asia. With our growing team, we have also helped thousands of leading brands in different industries achieve their marketing goals. Actually, some of them may have joined us here to share their experience with us today. Looking back over the past 2 years, many businesses from all over the world were gravely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Millions of dollars have been lost, and thousands have filed for bankruptcy because they cannot sustain their business anymore. However, on the flip side, new opportunities arise and accelerated digital transformation. Those who saw it rode on the wave and benefit from this, just as how Partipost has flourished. We are now living in a new normal. I believe we all need to keep up and embrace changes in order for our businesses to grow and sustain in the long run. With the title, connect, collab, and create, working with influencers to increase your brand awareness. This is the first leg of our webinar series, and we aim to give you insights into how nano influencers can help your brand reach its target audience while in the middle of the pandemic. My colleagues will also show you some of our successful campaigns with major brands that we work with. Without further ado, let's jump right in. We hope you can find this webinar informative and insightful. Please enjoy the rest of the session, and we also look forward to hearing some questions from you afterwards as well. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll pass you to our presenter.
As John aptly put it, many businesses from all around the world were gravely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But not all hopes were lost, as new opportunities arose and accelerated digital transformation. We now live in the age of influencers, where we are no longer limited to geography. With 4.33 billion social media users worldwide, who spends an average of 2 hours and 27 minutes daily, influencer marketing is a surefire way for more comprehensive and relevant engagement. Besides reach and reactions, ROI can also be linked to sales, a quantifiable measurement. Influencer marketing is set to be the future as more become privy to the benefits the community to conversations to commerce trends offers. Looking at the Malaysian stats, with 32.37 million people, more than half of the populations are actually smartphone users. It is not surprising to note that nearly 40% of Malaysian SMEs has leveraged digital platforms to connect with customers since the pandemic. With that, we saw a rise of 22.55 million active users, contributing to the influx of influencers into the field. In fact, social media influencers grew by 500 million in the past year alone. With the rapid and massive changes in the social media landscape, more consumers' lifestyles revolves around digital first world, making it more accessible for brands to connect with their audiences. And according to McKinsey & Company, studies have also shown that respondents are 3 times likelier now than before the crisis to say at least 80% of the customers' interactions are digital in nature. So, where do brands and marketers fit in the picture? Top brands are innovating new ways to work with influencers to fulfill more marketing objectives, and creativity complement other marketing channels. Leveraging the latest MarTech solutions, brands are turning what used to be a simple post and share campaign into complex task-based campaigns. And a robust influencer platforms like Partipost are allowing brands to activate thousands of influencers on demand. As a testament to that, influencer marketing has seen a global boom in the last 2 years alone. In 2022, the expected market value is now at $15 billion, an exponential growth since the 2019. So here, one of the main highlights of today's webinar. Partipost did an internal survey and found out that most brands have been plagued by at least these 4 marketing pain points since the COVID pandemic began. The first point, prioritizing digital marketing as an essential and main channel to reach out to customers. Number 2, stiff competition to stand out among the crowd in the digital realm. Number 3, uncertain days post-pandemic. Do you spend money? And even if you do, where? Last but not least, working remotely, or have you even considered outsourcing your marketing efforts? Do you also face one or more of these challenges? Please comment yes in the chat window on your right to share your thoughts. So the question is, how can you address these issues? How could brands address these issues? Could leveraging this booming landscape of influencers work? Let's all take 5 minutes to think about it. But 5 minutes is too long. But let's move on to the next slide. The answer is yes. Although the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted industries like tourism and airlines, some industries were able to grow during this challenging situation all around the world. Social media and influencer marketing are one of them. While the whole world is under the lockdown from 2020 to 2021, causing stricter MCO even in home base, social media usage has significantly increased. More people are migrating to social media as a means of escape when it comes to entertainment, gaining information, and even shopping. And with the word of mouth marketing alone driving 6 trillion, I repeat, 6 trillion in annual global spending and is responsible for 13% of sales. Influencer marketing is definitely the marketing strategy that you should be optimizing today. Looking at the stats, you must be wondering, how can you get a bite of the pie? And where do you even begin? Well, you first connect by choosing influencers that are relevant to your brand and leveraging their content to connect with like-minded audiences. Then you collaborate with them to spread word of mouth to drive brand top of mind. And lastly, create and build real connections that positively impact the way consumers feel when interacting with your brand. Ultimately, building a group of loyal customers. With that said, we are currently facing an influx of influencers in the market. Believe it or not, consumers are going through content fatigue. I believe at some point of time, you feel that too. As opposed to a few years ago, consumers are now going to be looking for more trusted influence in their purchasing decision. The trend will favor smaller influencers who are more relatable. Hence, everyday people are the future of influence marketing, with 60% of respondents finding friends and families more trustworthy in making purchase decisions. How many of you in the audience feel the same? Please let us know in the comment section on the right. Then the next question is, can influencer marketing help drive conversions? Well, let's first look at the IDA model, which is the most commonly used for planning a marketing campaign, as it shows the 4 main processes a consumer undergoes before successfully becoming a customer. It is a general misconception that influencer marketing is only viable to access audiences at the top funnel, but it's not always the case. Let us show you how Partipost nano influencers could be present in all stages. Stage 1, awareness. Deploying influencers to talk about your brand. According to the marketing rule of 7, consumers have to come across the message at least 7 times before truly making an interest and purchasing the product. Hence, in this case, nano influencers will be the most cost-effective way. Then we move on to stage 2, interest. Now that the consumers are aware of your product, the next step is to attract them to learn more in depth about the items and also the services for sale. This is the most crucial stage of the 4, as it determines if the consumers will be moving on to the next stage. But how do you even do so? Well, you spark their interest with benefits and use cases of products and services through word of mouth sharing via social media. The tip here is to find the right influencer for your brand, so you get the best chance to attract like-minded consumers. Then we move on to stage 3, desire. At this stage, generate interest and ensure consumers have a good feeling towards the brand, such that they will add the product into the cart. You will need to grab this opportunity to convince consumers that this is what they want, even though they might not need it. Influencers have the power to do so by sharing their thoughts and reviews about the product, giving the followers a good feeling about the brand. And what is more convincing if the story you hear comes from your inner circle? Lastly, we talk about stage 4, which is action. This is the final push in converting consumers to customers. The aim is to encourage them to go through with the transaction. And some traditional techniques that stand the test of time is like giving time-limited discounts and freebies, and obviously giving promo codes to influencers would help close the sale. In a summary, it is paramount to understand consumers' behavior, to think up effective and efficient way to reach out to them. And maybe, just maybe, you will want to consider including everyday people in your marketing strategy. So as a recap, nano influencers are the underdog power in the booming influencer marketing landscape. Customers are more likely to trust their immediate circle when it comes to making purchasing decisions. And in the saturated online world that is no short of content, we all crave authenticity and genuine connection, relatability over popularity. While I have said in length how technology has made it easy for us to connect and build meaningful relationships, at Partipost, we can help you collaborate with the right influencers for your brand, create the most effective campaigns to meet your objectives, and ultimately connect with the audience you need. So how can Partipost app help you optimize influencers? First and foremost, Partipost is an influencer marketing platform that allows brands to connect with people in order to create word-of-mouth advertising through social media. We have an easy-to-use campaign manager dashboard to manage influencers and content wherever you are. Over 700,000 total influencer database across Asia that brands can streamline to reach their desired audience. And with the existence of an app, you can now activate campaigns with scale and with speed. We can also provide you a list of influencers from different tiers, from nanos to megas for every campaign budget, meeting your objectives. To drive a point, we would also like to take this opportunity to share some of the case studies of some of the campaigns we have run in the past months. First case study, halls. For this campaign, halls came to us with an objective of raising awareness and positivity around their product. And the campaign was basically for influencers to share positive reviews with their friends and families. First, the influencer had to purchase the product and then create a post and story on Instagram sharing the positive reviews. In this campaign, we had a total of 120 influencers post about the product. And in just 5 weeks, the campaign managed to get 1.3 million cumulative reach, over 37,000 engagement, and an average ER of 31%. For the next case study, SSF VIP membership, we had 2 objectives, awareness and traffic to the brand's website. For this campaign, it was quite easy. We had nano influencers to share about the brand's promotion on their Instagram story using a specific hashtag from the brand. Since the campaign calls for nano, we had a total of 387 influencers, and in just 4 weeks, the promotion got a cumulative reach of nearly 1.7 million, over 63,000 engagement, and an average ER of 3.75. As for Kellogg's, this was also an awareness campaign, and the idea was for our influencers to promote creating fun activities with their kids at home using Kellogg's cereal and share it with their followers on Instagram. This was a very nice to see campaign. It's because you'll be able to see pictures of moms posting pictures with their children and how they're actually having fun with the product. For this campaign, we employed 47 mom micro-influencers and managed to reach out to over 1.1 million and over 15,000 engagement with an average ER of 6.63. And for the last case study, we had GrabFood with the objective of creating awareness and driving traffic. Specifically, this campaign made use of our micro-influencers to share about GrabFood's free delivery promotion in certain key states in Malaysia. Influencers will first need to purchase the food via GrabFood and then sharing it as an IG carousel post to their followers. This campaign ran for 4 weeks, and in that time, we managed to get over 1.6 million reach, over 68,000 engagement, and an average ER of 4%. While I take a short breather, let us hear from Mr. Sean from Partipost Media on his take on influencer marketing and how it has helped their client in this post-pandemic world. I'll pass to you, Mr. Sean.
So move to the next slide. Hi everyone. So before I start, hi everyone. So before I start, I'm Sean. So in Trapper, right? So we actually how we actually do things. Not only looking at media solutions, we look at media so we actually we look at the business to via innovation and just integrated solutions. Via innovation, so we call ourselves as next slide engineers, right? So next slide. So how do we actually plan our? Of course, first is we look at we do communication planning. We look at what the objective of what we wanted to achieve. Your comms, your media objective, your media objective or your business objective. Agreeing and setting the key media deliverables upfront. And then we also look into the overall. So we look into like the brief. So we look into like the brief. We also even customers, what the trends and also customers, what the trends, how we actually consumption behavior, how we then we start to develop our strategy. Then we start to develop into our strategy and like the design how we actually. What kind of innovations? How we actually what kind of innovations or ideation like media platform per se? We look at the ideation, how we can say. We look at the ideation, how activation. Then we look into our post-mortem. Then we look into evaluations, reviews, evaluations, reviews, learnings, and also recommendations. Next. So how does our clients influencer marketing plays a role? How our media can plays a role? So we do see influencers marketing. So we do see influencers marketing and also the brand and also it also helps the brand to maneuver. It also helps the brand to maneuver a lot of those. So giving example for those like giving example for healthcare product that you healthcare product that you can't even advertise. So hence we leverage on. So hence we use influencers to actually to showcase influencers to actually to showcase the daily, so that they actually able to show the so that more real able to show the real day-to-day usage and also the more real day-to-day usage and also the more real and also experience. So this actually helps the brand. So this actually helps the clients, helps the brand or helps the clients interact with fashion, which is a so with this manner as well. So we see that manner as well. We see that it helps as well as we see there's also generate quite a number of positive sentiments to the brand. So following few slides, it will be showcasing what we have done as an integrated solution. Media solution, how the solution actually plays the keyword activation. So one of it is the first case study. So one of it is the first case study. We all know Prism is all. So we all know Prism, but it's all about mineral. Do you know? But what? Do you know what? So we actually like the. So we actually wanted to educate the consumer. Wanted to educate to the consumer. Differentiate between the natural mineral water between the natural mineral water with So because to everyone it's just a minute, it's just a water. Because to everyone it's just a minute, it's just a water. Right. So but we want to instill that kind of mindset perception as well. So how do we actually convince the consumer? Natural mineral water is good for your health. Natural mineral water is actually good for your health. Silicas, so as because this kind of natural all these kind of natural substances. Next. So the strategy what we actually came up came out was preserve the original rainforest. We wanted to bring the rainforest up to the consumer and the experience the consumer and the experience. So how we actually experience this is how we actually activation this is at the pavilion where it cover like three different in the pavilion areas environment and the pavilion. We also do like environment like that. We also do like a we also have a sampling vending machine. So we also have a 3D screen as well as the 3D screen that is pavilion. So we also have that pavilion. So we also have that. Not only that, we also leverage on influencers to actually shout out, hey, there's this activation. Hey, there's this activation. So with this campaign, right, we do see quite a number with positive up to 99 positive sentiments. Actually, they up to 99 interested to watch the 3D because it's very interesting. Interested to watch the 3D because it's very them to actually interact and lead them to actually interact for the free bottle. Besides that, we also drive the video. Besides that, we also drive in with the video views 60% to 100% 60%. So it's considered quite a success whereby the product was quite a success whereby the first product was fully redeemed within the first month of activation. For the second campaign or second brand that we want to showcase is Texas Chicken. So back in 2020, whereby the pandemic is a very tough time and challenging time. It's a very tough time. But however, the brand also launch as a brand, we wanted to launch to entice to attract audience and to entice the audience and spice up the boring night. So how do we actually looking at the whole landscape, the QSR landscape, itself, they're also launching having a big enormous budget, having that big enormous we can actually break through. So how we can actually garner traction on our new product. Next. So what we done here was knowing the Malaysian are busy. So we leverage on the search data. So we leverage on the search data that we have to entice to trigger the hungriness among the audience. And we also leverage on influencers. Right, to play around or to advertise on our to actually entice go on TikTok to actually entice add some short video content about how garlic herb chicken actually tastes like garlic herb chicken actually some taste like and also to funny content of very funny content of next. So we actually tease, we also trust, and also orders. There's content curation. So very there's content curation, very leverage on advertising as well as like we also leverage on to actually shout on it. So out of all the posting that we have actually done, out of all the posting that we have high traction, we do see high, especially when it comes to the influencers, posting. Next. So as a result, we do see upon the collaborative from our end. So we do see and so as from our end. So we do see and so as we do see garner the highest sales of the year for this herb garlic chicken. And based on the daily quantity sold as well as based on daily previous sold as well as based on it's actually proven that all the media touch points, including all the media touch points, it works hand in hand activation. It works hand in hand. We do based on the two case study that I have shared. So based on the two case study that I see like a lot of like both actually show like a lot of like both actually show the business results, sentiments, business results, sentiments, as well as media metrics. how do we work with Partipost? How do we work with Partipost both campaigns? Right, it's basically we do campaigns. Like it's basically even though the brief comes in like even though the brief comes in like so the team has been like very responsive, and so the team has been like very responsive and also cater to accommodate and also accommodate all the short time and also to all the short time, and also we do see the influences that and also on the platform itself, the influences that provide on the platform itself, good content and produce pretty good content and which the client are pretty much what we personally recommend in the marketing campaigns. So always do in the marketing campaigns. So always do influencers like consider as because it does act as a push because it does act as a brand or as a agency as a brand or as an agency campaign roll out our campaign even Google. However, with this we do still need to have another credibility part of it, which is the credibility part of it to generate more UGC content, right? To generate more UGC content, right? Audience pool and also to build the audience trust and also to build the between the brand and trust between the brand and also so hence the brand and complementing and working hand in hand, actually complementing and working hand in hand with the media case. So with that, I'll pass back the floor. So with that, I'll pass back the floor to Ali.
All right. Thank you so much, Sean, for your valuable insights. And I believe anyone here who have picked up the best learnings that you have shared earlier will be able to go far in terms of planning their marketing strategies. Okay. Now, we have received some of your questions, and we will be addressing them one by one by our very own Partipost Head of Staff, Ms. Tulin, and some of the BD managers who are also in the crowd. So if you have any questions for us that you have not keyed in, do it now. And if you have any questions for Mr. Sean as well, you may leave them in the chat window on your right. All right. So there were a few questions that came in, and then I believe some of the questions were actually answered by Keith, who is one of our BD managers. But I'll just do a recap to see if for the larger audience and to see if Tulin has any additional things that she would want to add on as well. So the first question was, beside Instagram, what are the other social media platforms that you have run influencer marketing campaigns on? So Keith has answered. So we have also executed campaigns on Facebook and TikTok as well. We also seeing some clients looking to kickstart some campaigns on Xiaohongshu, which highly targeting Chinese communities. Tulin, is there anything you want to add to this question before I move on to the next?
Hello, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi everyone, Tulin here. I'm not sure how to turn on my camera, so I'll just... Okay, no, actually I just wanted to say that to add on to Keith's answers, I think other than the social media platforms that Keith mentioned, I think in other countries that Partipost is in, we are also on other platforms like Twitter, which we have not tried in Malaysia. So what I'm trying to say, right, is it doesn't mean that if we have not run it before, we can't run it. We are always open to try new platforms. And actually, Partipost campaign is not just limited to social media platforms. We are also able to execute campaigns outside of the social media platforms. So we have run campaign on a Google Reviews website, on the client's website itself, Watson, Guardian, or those platforms where we are looking for people to try the product and do a quick review of the product. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And then I'll move on to the second question from the floor. What type of influencer campaigns have Partipost run for health-related products and networks?
What kind of health-related products? Sorry, can you repeat that?
What type of influencer campaigns have Partipost ran for health-related products and networks? I mean, basically campaign networks.
I think when it comes to health and beauty, it could be a little tricky sometimes. So we have run campaigns for just general supplements, general beauty products, things like probiotics or eye drops. All of those are quite easy to run. So there's really a series of campaign mechanics that we can come up with. The simple one would be like, we can buy a product. It can get the Partiposters to buy the product and then do a review. But we can also go the brand awareness route, right? So for example, there is Mother's Day coming up, and there's a very good discount coming up. So it's like a call to action, right? We can just get a very simple campaign to get everybody to shout about this promotion. So it's really it's actually really up to what the brand is looking for, the kind of objective they are looking at. That's when we can come up with the actual campaign mechanic that would fit the objective of the client. Yeah, I would say. Other than that, I know that some of the health products actually have some regulations that would need some approval. So I think in terms of that kind of approval, the brand would actually know better than us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'll move on to the next question. From Ilana. May I know, as a client, can we choose which influencers, or we only can select the group and the app will dedicate the influencer based on our requests? So Keith has answered. Hi Ilana. Oh yes, that's for sure. So once your brief is live on our app, we can carry out an interest submission in order for our party posters to pitch for your campaign, if they would love to be a part of your campaign, and of course if they fulfill the influencer profile required. With that, you will be able to shortlist and handpick the profiles you would love to engage with before they proceed to the content creation task. Based on this question and also the answer from Keith, Tuli, will you be able to share with us, to shed light basically, why would they need to through interest submission, and then how do we actually qualify them?
Actually, to answer your question, Elena, and to also extend on Keith's answers, I would say that both are doable. So you can either not choose the Partiposters yourself, or you can choose the Partipost yourself. So there are multiple campaign types within Partipost itself. So we have like public campaign and private campaign. And even within the public campaign itself, there are a difference between public campaign without registration and public campaign with registration. So the differences is that, let's say with private campaign, you maybe are looking for brand ambassadors. You're looking for a very specific type of profiles, and you want to look through their profiles first before actually engaging them in a campaign itself. Then yes, private campaign will be the one for you, right? So we actually will give you like a list of Partiposters that fit the requirements that you give us. Then you can choose from the profiles, and we'll only invite the profiles that you approved into the campaign, and this will be the only people that will see the campaign itself on the app. So that's the private campaign. When it comes to public campaign, so for the public campaign without the registration, we will say that as long as the Partiposters fit with whatever the requirements is stated on the brief, we would let them join the campaign. And this is what we recommend for products, or let's say like FMCG products that's available anywhere, anybody can join, or like restaurants whereby anyone can dine at, and there's not much requirements in terms of profiles. This will be the best because it's a lot faster, because anyone can join as long as they fit the campaign requirements. And second, there will be a lot less effort from you having to go through the profiles. Yeah, so that's the one without the registration. So if you want to, people to actually the public to actually see your campaigns on the app, but not everyone can join your campaign. So that's where the public with registration come in. So let's say that you push a campaign on the Partipost app, and then everybody can join. They can actually sign up for the campaign if they're interested, and then that's when brand actually go in, look through a profile, approve the profiles that they want to join the campaign. So when it comes to this, right, the lead time of the campaign is definitely going to be longer because you will need some time, right, to approve the profile. And then on our side, we have to push out to this profile and say, hey, you're approved. It's time to create content. So definitely in terms of the time duration of the campaign is going to be a bit longer. Yes. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay. I'm going to touch on basically based an answer for an earlier question. So I think this is to Keith itself. So I guess maybe to Lin, you can shed some light as well. As mentioned earlier, Xiaohongshu, we actually mentioned Xiaohongshu in our answer in the previous question. Does this mean that Partipost can also engage influencer from Xiaohongshu to target Chinese community? Keith, would you want to answer? Hi, Keith.
I'm not sure if his mic is on.
Okay, maybe we'll just post this first until Keith found his voice. But we can move on to the next question first. Okay, Jamie from our attendees actually asked, may I know what is the minimum budget required from brands?
I will say that at Partipost, we are really looking at how we can best achieve your objectives for a campaign. So usually we would go the other route of like what is your objective? How many people are you looking at to run a campaign? So for example, if it's a nano campaign, right, it's everyday people at 200 followers, and you need like 5 people. I'm not saying we can't do it, but from the Partipost point of view, we could be telling you that, hey, we don't think it's gonna help the brand with the objective that you're pushing for at this budget. So with us at Partipost being the subject matter expert when it comes to influencer marketing, we would like to help you to come up with the best plan when it comes to a campaign itself. So when it comes to a minimum budget, I would say that we don't really have one. It really depends on the campaign. And if we see that, we are not able to fulfill your objective at this moment, we will not be shy at telling you that. Yeah.
All right. I guess we have one last question. I have not tried yet, but I have heard that influencer marketings are quite expensive. Is it true? I think this is very similar to Jamie's question.
Yeah, I would say that even when it comes to influencer marketing, right, it's a very wide range. So that it all is all the way from nano influencer, micro, macro, mega, and celebrities. So you all know like celebrity is gonna cost a fortune, right? So we are saying that with the same amount of money, instead of getting one celebrity, we can get maybe 10 macro or mega, and then we can get like 100 micro, or we can get like 1,000 nanos. And it's really what are you looking at? Are you looking at like 1,000 of everyday people shouting about your brands? And what we are saying at Partipost is how we are different from other agencies is that we actually can activate like a few hundreds of people at one time, right? So with the ad, that's how we can scale the campaign in a shorter time. So I think Aline, you shared some case study just now where we were saying we got a few hundred people in a few weeks. Yeah, I would say that in other countries, so we are actually running in other countries as well, right? So for Singapore, we can get a few hundred in a day because we have been running a bit longer. Or in Indonesia, because it's a really big market, we can get like a few thousand in a day. So that's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
We have a difficult question, but that means that they're really interested to know who Partipost is all about. So what happens? So JD asks, what happens if the campaign does not achieve the desired result?
I would say that it would be great if you could tell us what is your desired result from the start. So that's why as a consultant we will be able to tell you what are the risks, what are the possibilities. So I think as with any other marketing campaigns, right, there will be some risk. Because it's our first time running this kind of campaign, this kind of mechanics for the brand. So we actually do a lot of trial and error. So even with our long-term clients, let's say Kellogg's, we have run multiple campaigns with different objectives, different mechanics. Not all campaigns have the same results, but what we can tell you, right? We can tell you that for this kind of similar mechanics we have done in the past, this is the kind of result that we can get. And this will be like, we usually will give you a range of the results that we will be able to produce. And I don't think we have ever gone below that.
Okay, I guess that's good to know. And then I guess we had the last question that just came in from Joyce. How do we know that KOL is buying followers? Can the app trace that?
This is a very interesting question. I would say that if you're very active on social media, you would realize that this is actually an industry problem that even Instagram is trying to solve. I would say that even for my profile, right, no influencers. I don't really I do join like Partipost campaigns, but I don't actively grow my followers. And I think there's quite a number of people on my profiles who follows me that are not my friends. I don't know where they come from. So I would say it's hard to track, no doubt. But what we do at Partipost is that we actually always keep track of the average followers as well as the engagement rate per profile. And then if for a certain campaign there's a jump in number, we always take note of those numbers and we'll flag the profile. So internally, we will see all of this and we will deprioritize the profiles for the future campaigns. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and
thank you
hi,
so much, Tulin.
hi everyone.
And then,
Yes.
yes, Keith. So
Okay.
Ilana had a question for you. As you mentioned Xiaohongshu in the previous post, meaning that Partipost can engage influencers from Xiaohongshu to target Chinese community.
Sorry, I think before I answer the questions, just let me to chip in the previous questions. So, how do we know the KOL is buying followers? So, usually the way that we look at is the insights as in their metrics. You know, when people posting videos, we are able to get the views and also likes and all. That's where we're able to justify whether they are buying followers, because it's easily to differentiate whether the followers numbers is tally with the result of the posting or not. So this is why if the brands or the client, like our client, is concerning about the quality of the profiles, we'll always suggest to go with interest submissions first. That's where they can handpick the profiles themselves. Just being very transparent here is really an industry problem. People are buying followers in order to make their profiles looks better. Higher followers numbers means that they get more payout. So we wouldn't want to hide that.
And eventually, if that's a concern, that will be we'll usually propose to have interest submissions for your campaign. I hope that answers your questions. And then for Elena's questions, Xiaohongshu is can if Partipost can engage influencers from Xiaohongshu to target Chinese community. So yes, I think we are now seeing a lot of brands. They are asking about how Xiaohongshu works in overall and how are we able to engage influencers on Xiaohongshu, because there are more and more Chinese communities good to be more active on Xiaohongshu instead of TikTok and also IG. The reason being is the content is more related, and they have a functions where they can find the content and Xiaohongshu user who are nearby their locations. So that's where they're able to get to know content who which is very relatable. That's the first of the factors. Secondly is the way that they create the content is more relatable as well. So yes, we can do that, but we have never done any Xiaohongshu campaign before, to be very transparent here. But we are actively recruiting Xiaohongshu party posters on our platforms to be ready if there's any brief comes in. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Keith. And just to add on to Keith's answer, so basically, we did an internal survey among our party posters just recently, over 18,000 of them, and then we actually found out that beside than the normal IG, Facebook, and also other social media platforms that are using like TikTok, Xiaohongshu is actually picking up in this region as well. So definitely is something that we're looking at if to run campaigns with brands if they're interested. Okay, so I guess okay, is there any other questions from the floor before we actually move on to the next slide? Okay, if no, then thank you so much, Tulin. Thank you so much, Keith, for your time and answering these very difficult and interesting questions for us today. All right, then we'll move on
Thank
to
you.
before we end the session, right, let's talk about the second highlight of this webinar, which is the giveaway that we'll be giving to 2 lucky attendees today. So as mentioned earlier in the webinar, we will be giving away 2 mass campaigns to attendees who actually stayed with us to the end of the webinar. So it is very easy. All you have to do now is fill up the survey from the link that is shared in the chat window, and we will actually pick 2 lucky winners via an online lucky draw generator, just so you know that we are not rigging this. And then we will actually make the announcement at 2 p.m. via the Partipost LinkedIn, which will be also shared on the chat window. All right. So please do not be disheartened, as no one leaves empty-handed from a Partipost webinar. Not only will we be sharing a copy of today's recording with you, but also a copy of the Southeast Asia Influencer Marketing Industry Report that was produced by Partipost that will aid you in your marketing efforts for the coming quarters. By the end of time today, we hope you feel more comfortable and confident about influencer marketing. Here at Partipost, we are very passionate about helping brands to engage with customers. If you have any questions after this, please do write into us, and then we will actually answer them as soon as we can.